What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Survivor Now podcast. My name is Randy. I am joined, as always, by my wonderful colleague of many years, Abraham from season 41. And we have someone new joining us today. You see him as Uncle Bruce here, but the first ever two-time castaway of the new era. Everybody, one of everyone's favorite castaways out there. We are joined by Bruce. Bruce, how are we doing this evening?
What's going on, fam? This is fun. This is great. Like I've been like thinking about this for the last, 3 days. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so much fun. What am I gonna do? And then my wife was like, you gotta do all sorts of stuff. Like put your stuff up, this, that, and the other. I'm like, I just want to make sure I do one or two things. Put my torches out, put my buffs on. I got 4 of them. I'm hanging out. This is all authentic.
This is like the man's got like a Survivor museum over here. That's what I'm impressed about. Okay, now this is. I mean, we had Metallica versus Taylor Swift, and now we've got a Survivor off between these two gentlemen down here. Notice how I'm in the middle to keep them separated.
I'm going to tell you this, though. Abraham, you took my spot for 41.
Hey, you could have had it back. You could have said it. Could have had it. Hey, if I'd have known how it was going to work out, you definitely could have had that one.
Well, the people are excited because we've got Lexa. She left this like hours earlier. This was already in the comments like around 1 o'clock today. You guys got Bruce. That is so cool. Congrats. Thank you.
Let me ask Bruce. Bruce, were you already going through the process of interviewing and stuff for 41?
Oh, I was on, baby. I found out that I was not going to be on season 41. I'm sorry, that they shut everything down 4 days before I was supposed to fly out because of COVID. 4 days. I was going out to Fiji. I was on that plane. Everything was packed. I was actually out of work. Everything. It was all ready to go.
Did not know. Hey, did not know that, man.
I got to say something for you.
They came back and was like, nah, we want Abraham. I was like, okay, well, I can get about the couch.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing much.
No wonder they wanted Bruce back so bad because they've been trying to get this man on Survivor since season 41. So after 44, they're like, nah, he's not going out like this. We also have Ken's in the chat, Bruce, and then J.O. Ayo. I mean, Bruce, I just have to ask, man, like you've played this game. Yes, I know the first time was a tough experience for you, but you've played this twice. How does it feel? I mean, and back to back too. How does it feel to finally be back on the couch and enjoy watching a season that you're not competing on?
Man, all right. So last week was good. Last week was like, okay, I was actually down in Florida. Janet, I was with her through season 39. I was hanging out. It was a very good time. And when the show started and they started showing like where the camps were and they started the waves and some of the rock formations. And I'm like, oh man, like I feel like I'm there right now. I started smelling like the ocean. I started smelling the funk. Like it just all came back to me. And even like tonight, I'm sitting there tonight and I'm like, I'm jumping up and down. I put something out on Twitter like, oh my God, let's go. And then I'm sitting on my couch and I literally talked to my wife. I said something to my wife. I looked dead at her and I go, oh man, I love Survivor. And I turned my head and my chin started moving. I'm emotionally invested in this now because of my experience. So it's like, I just love it. I love it. It's not as intense as it was before because I didn't know what they were going to do about me. But now that it's anything about me, it's now a fan loving this game again.
I know, man. It's interesting when you see you see your camp area and they're walking around and they got the camera shots and you like, man, I was sitting in Fiji doing the exact same thing, living that adventure, man. And that's the bond that we're never going to be able to break. It's going to always be the bond that binds all of us.
That's right.
The new era Survivor, we played in Fiji, but we're looking at our beach. The only thing changes is Ponderosa. Ponderosa's the only thing changed. Apparently, we don't get the same Ponderosa.
Well, hopefully we can get that back someday. Bruce, before we actually get into the episode itself and all of that stuff, show us what the shirt you're repping tonight and where can people get that shirt?
Team Bruce, look me up on Instagram. You got all my, my tree is in there. All my stuff. You can find out all the things that I do. I got 1,000,001 things that I do, but these are there. They're online. They're for sale. So Team Bruce shirts. You're still repping. Go ahead and find it and buy a shirt. For you, your mom, your dad, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, for everybody.
I need to get one so bad. Abraham's got one. Of course, Bruce has it. It's his shirt. I need to get one. We could have all been matching this evening. And if you are watching this stream, if you haven't been able to tell by now, you can join in our live chat. I like to call it our ancient voices. Jay says this episode was great. 46 has been amazing so far. And I agree. And Ken's, I see your comment. I'll pull it up a little bit later on in the show when it's an appropriate time to pull it up. But I really, gentlemen, I enjoyed tonight's episode. I really loved it, and I'm going to get your opinions on it as a whole, and we will get into kind of the small moments throughout as we really break this down. And I hate to start on a negative tone, but I have to. And our first topic is you can't please everyone. So I'm watching the episode like I usually do, and I'm on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and I'm looking at what everyone is putting out there. And a big theme of this episode, obviously, we got 2 hours last week with the premiere, and then we got another 2 hours this week. And a big talking point was how that first hour was nothing but, kind of tribe dynamics and the tribes really getting to know each other and interact with one another. And I saw a lot of people say that, oh my gosh, that first hour dragged on. This episode was a bore. Did we really need 2 hours? We could have done this in 90 minutes. And it brings up the question of, I remember from a fan's perspective when everyone was arguing, everyone was begging CBS, give us more. We want to see like classic Survivor. We want to see tribe dynamics and funny moments and stuff. And we finally get it. And now people are like, this is boring. We just want go straight into strategy and stuff. So I want to get your guys' opinions on how you felt about the episode. Bruce, you are our amazing guest this evening. So I'm going to start with you first, but I'll just put it out there. I thought this was a great episode.
I agree. It was a great episode, and yes, you cannot please everybody. And this is what's going to, I think, help solidify, who people want to root for. Once you get to know them a little bit better, because the complaint just 5 years ago was like, we have no idea who these people are. We're going into these, we're seeing the reward challenges and the immunity challenges, and we're just seeing a little bit of people like backstabbing each other, and then that's it. I even wrote down in my notes that they told a lot of stories about people today, so we want to know that about them. It's to help out the castaways as well as for us. We want to get to know what's going on in front of us. We want to know who they are, because then we can get vested in them a little bit more. And I think that it might actually help to humanize people, so that the trolls that are out there are going to be like, oh, I can't stand this person because of blah, blah, blah. Well, when you say that, troll, there are going to be people that are going to back up the person that you're talking about. So because they feel passionate about that person. So keep it coming. Give me an hour of it. Give me an hour and 10 minutes of it. And then we'll watch them battle and yell at each other during, challenges and this and the other. But I like that.
Yeah, I think with the new era Survivor, especially with 41 and 42, you really didn't get to know the cast. And you want to root for somebody. You want to say, look, I feel like there's something like me, or they have mannerisms like me, or that could be me. And you don't get a chance to see that. It takes 2 hours. And remember now, the first 2 episodes is 2 hours long. That is a great tool to get us vested into the show, because now we see a Tiffany. We see her at a vulnerable moment after a challenge. We see explosiveness. We see the craziness that goes on at camp. You don't get that in 90 minutes. You don't get that definitely in 60 minutes. 60 minutes, you're trying to put challenge in. You're trying to get other things in. And here's the thing that you don't see. You can't film Survivor all day. So you got to make sure you got the lighting for it, all other things that go into production that people don't ever want to worry about. But that's what it takes to make a good show. So I enjoyed the 2 hours because I get to see the players. I get to say, you know what? Here's who I want to really root for, because I've seen something in them that mirrors something that I want to do, or something that I was like, and especially, I don't know about you, Bruce, you'd be like, I wouldn't do it that way. I probably wouldn't have played it that way. Because now you're second guessing, if you were with that group of people, how would you play the game differently? So for the new era players looking at the current players and people looking at it in general, you're going to appreciate these 2 hours as we go forward into next week. Now we're down to 90 minutes?
Yeah, 90 minutes moving forward for the rest of the season.
Now you're going to be spoiled like, oh, we ran out of time. Well, no, now we've developed the characters that the castaways to the point now where, oh no, who are you really voting for? Who are you rooting for?
I think I think it's really interesting. You look back at these kind of the most classic moments in Survivor history, and a lot of times they're these kind of wacky moments that just stick with you throughout your life. That you're like, oh, I remember when these two were talking about this at camp or whatever. And I don't want to talk too much about what happened this episode because we're going to cover it throughout the podcast tonight. But I'll go back to last episode, that whole like montage that we got about the Andy Griffith show and the Andy Griffith Alliance. So that was funny. And that was something that we weren't getting in season 41, 42 and stuff like that. Those moments where, yes, in the overall scheme of things, does it really matter who's going home because of that segment? No, it doesn't really play into that. But as you said, Bruce and Abraham, you added on to this. It's about getting to know people. There's going to be a point in the season where we lose someone, you know, whether it's post-merge or a little bit later on in one of these later episodes, we're going to lose someone and it's going to actually hit us hard because we have these funny and emotional moments to fall back on rather than someone being the third, fourth person eliminated. And we're like, man, we saw maybe 2 confessionals of them. So you don't have that connection. That's what that's why I thought this was a really good episode. Cause I felt like we got everything in terms of like advantages, in terms of, you didn't know who was going home. I thought this was a like really complete episode of Survivor.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say this though. Our guys' night montage was so much better.
It was so good. That's a moment I'm talking about, man. I forgot about, my memory is just terrible. But the moment you said guys, I am like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. We got some comments here as well. Jay says 46 is rivaling the other new era season so far, in my opinion. 2 great episodes back to back. You know, these gentlemen beneath me here are not going to agree with that. They're going to say their season was the best. Rose said classic Survivor did have more challenges. Reward challenges were standard. Yes, it's like maybe we could bring those back, but it goes back to you're not going to please everyone.
So at the end of the day, I would love to go back and play a version of old Survivor, but they're not going back. So we got to get recommitted to Survivor and see how this new. We're in season 46. If you be invested in Survivor, you're going to invest in Survivor. If you don't want to look at it anymore, you should have stopped at 42, 43. But we're in 46 now. We want to see something different. I love the box. I think the box is the next coolest Beware advantage ever because it's not just a box. You know, you don't get excited and be like, I found the box. Wait a minute. I found part of the box. Now I got to go do some other stuff for the box. Hey, but Bruce, I know we're going to talk about the challenges, but them little objects is heavy.
Abraham, you're jumping all over my points here. You're trying to hit the entire episode in 5 minutes, Mike.
Look. Simmer down, young man.
Abraham's like, enough of this like fan talk. Let's get into the episode. Abraham, I'm going to take you up and we can get into the episode now. So let's talk about the first thing that we saw here. And that was the early struggles in the game. And gentlemen, this is something that I really wanted to ask you and something I can't speak too much on because I have not been out there. I have not played the game. You guys have both experienced how difficult it is. And we start this episode off by seeing multiple people struggling. We saw Venus really struggling with the fact that she can't connect with people. And we've heard this from castaways before where it's like you almost feel like the kid that gets left out at school. And you can't make any friends. And she's really struggling with that. And then on the flip side, we see Kenzie just saying, look, they make it look so easy on TV. And I come out here and this thing's difficult. Like I'm getting no sleep. I'm hungry. And we're on day 4. This is only day 4. So Abraham, I'll go to you first before hearing Bruce's take on this. But how tough is it to go out there and battle your emotions and stuff when you literally have no sleep?
Let me tell you something. It's hard. Hey, look, I would like to say it's like, no, you're not. It's going to strip you away every day. A little by little is going to get stripped away where something normally wouldn't bother you or you don't have an emotional reaction to it like we have on Survivor. But as you get out there, you're not eating on a regular basis. You're not sleeping. And then you got social stuff that you're dealing with that maybe in a normal environment wouldn't be an issue. But you're like, man, I got to make a connection because there's only 6 players. There's only 6 players in my tribe, and I can't connect with anybody. And I'm irritable. I'm moody. I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to talk too little. Am I saying the wrong thing? Am I offending somebody and just not knowing I'm offending somebody? So it's the chair does not do it justice. And I talked a lot of trash on the chair for years. But when I stepped foot on the island, I realized you're playing the game of Survivor. It's not just the 18 castaways. Fiji is number 19 because you're dealing with the environment. And if another person eat ants on this season, like it's a treat.
It's I know, Bruce. I know you ate ants. I know you had to have ate some ants out there.
Like it's a treat up in here or something. No.
Listen, they're not chocolate covered ants, so that's the only way that I eat my ants. I tried an ant. No, I ain't gonna get you. I'm not gonna lie. I tried an ant, and I'm just like, there was nothing there. But I'm just like, all the work you got to put in. An ant eaters, they're big because they eat a lot at a time. I would have to pinch one of it. No, not gonna go through that. But so I'm looking at with the episode. I'm looking at Kenzie. So Kenzie sat there. She's having her emotional breakdown, and that's perfectly fine. You're supposed to have that. Like for myself personally, I had them, but it was never during the day. The way that I looked at this game when I played was during the day, it was a game. It was always a game. But at night, when I sat down, I'm on the beach. I slept on the beach every single night, just about. Like there was like one night that I slept in the shelter and I hated it because it rained and poured and whatever. But that was my time to be able to clear my head a little bit and actually let the emotional side of me come through. And I'm sitting on the beach and I'm having my tears are coming down my face and I'm talking to, because not a lot of people know this. My mother passed away 8 days after the premiere of season 44. So then a month later, I'm flying out to Fiji. So I'm dealing with that in turn. So now I'm sitting there looking at the stars and I'm having my emotional stuff and I'm talking to the family and stuff like that. That was my time. So she just happened to have it during the day. So during the day, the camera's all up in your face. They just want to know exactly what's going on and want to see every emotion. So I completely understand that. Now, Venus, on the other hand, when she's going through her moment, Venus isn't used to being the person that's going to sit there and be like, why isn't everybody wanting to talk to me? Why doesn't everybody because, we'll call it what it is, the poverty effect of Venus. She's an attractive woman and she's sitting there and she's used to the attention. And she even said in the episode that she's an introvert. Well, I can almost see when she's out and about with in a social setting, she'll fit right in and people will talk to her, but she's not used to what's going on right now. So this is the beauty of this game. This is why I can see this game going on, season 75, because it is a social experiment. It's something that every single person, someone is going to attach onto that and say, okay, this is why I'm going to be on the show, because I can see what these people are going through. And I know that I can deal with it in a different way because I've been through that before. So, I feel every single thing that these people are saying. It made so much sense because I've touched on every emotion that I've seen so far in this game less than, a year ago.
Well, now, Abraham.
I will say this right here. If it wasn't 2 hours, we don't get Kenzie's breakdown.
Nope.
We don't see that moment where she needs that time to herself.
Well said.
And she says it. She said, I need to get this time out so I can come back. Yeah. And you wouldn't get that. And then you couldn't figure out how certain parts of the storyline develop because we never see it. So I think if you come back and just step back and look at the 2 hours and saw everything you got out of the 2 hours, it's difficult. I ain't gonna tell nobody that's going out there. I applaud everybody for applying and going out there, but everybody goes through something when you go out there on Fiji through Survivor that always will impact you through your life. It's a different experience.
Definitely.
Well, I want to talk really quick about both of these women. We kind of touched on the emotion that you feel when you go out there. And I think it was well said when you both kind of said, look, both of them, they have a reason to be emotional, whether it's struggling to fit in or just battling the elements in Fiji, as you like to say, Abraham, the 19th castaway. But let's start with Venus here, and we can talk about, feel free to go farther in the episode if you like, but this is someone, for a tribe in Nami who has been winning and just been undefeated and they can't lose right now. Venus is really, really struggling. Yeah. He's going to be flaunting those buffs all night.
I didn't figure out which one it was. Was it? No, because Bello was the one.
No, yeah, Bello was the one. But Venus has, we even heard it tonight when I believe it was Tevin. Forgive me if I got the person wrong, but I believe it was Tevin who said girl, we've been winning. What is there to be, down about? And Venus is just really struggling in the game to, with her tribe, find someone to connect with. So Bruce, I'll go to you first here. What do we think about Venus's game right now? You said it a little bit. I compared her to Parvati last week, and everyone agreed with you, Abraham. Everyone agreed with you and said she's not Parv. Calm down, Randy. I'm just saying she has Parv-like qualities, much like Bruce said, in the terms of, yes, she is an attractive woman. A lot of people think they can't trust her, and it probably because they're comparing her to Parv. They're like, oh, I've seen this before in this game. So Bruce, what can Venus do here to try to navigate her way through this Nami tribe when everyone's not listening to her voice?
The only thing that Venus can do is Venus can, in my opinion, almost forcibly place herself in scenarios. Like, put yourself in there. And then if she can stand up and be in a conversation or make herself be in a conversation, then all of a sudden someone wants to say something, or if there's an attitude towards that, well, now she can then turn around with who she is and her personality and say, oh my God, I felt a certain way because of that. What do you think? And with having that kind of a conversation, when someone's talking to her, they're talking to her, they're talking with her. And I've seen that so far. They're talking with her. She has her own little thing that's making her a little beta blocker, if you will, that's stopping her from moving forward with her ability to be who she can in this game. It's like she's sitting there and it's like, oh my God, this is stopping me, this is stopping me, this is stopping me, as opposed to being like, all right, this is trying to stop me, but it's not. I'm going to move forward and do this, and I'm going to take charge of what's going on. She shouldn't have to get angry to do that. It's like, don't get angry to do it. Just try and find a way to get your way in there and just do it. Just go forward with it, and you'll make it to the merge, and you'll make it pretty deep in the game, because then you're who you are outwardly to people. They're going to see that. Okay. And then it's going to help you in your game. It's okay to play like Poverty in a certain way. Like Poverty had her time. And just like anything else, everybody gets compared to someone else. Like I got, compared to people, Abraham, I know you got compared to people. Everybody gets compared to someone. And you either ride with it or you fight against it. But if you're going to fight against it, you gotta show how you're not who they're trying to make you out as. So that's the only advice I would ever have.
I think, like I tell every time, when you go out there and you get there and the game kicks off, you got to find one person that you can align yourself with. Mm-hmm. Now, that one person may not come from the fact that you initiated it. It may come from somebody who you don't think you're going to be aligned with. Now, a surprise castaway on their tribe is Soda. She is an absolute surprise to me. I didn't think her gameplay would be so presenting itself as so outspoken and her mannerisms. When she took that idol and gave it to the other person, I was like, that is straight disrespect right there.
That's 2 weeks in a row, the immunity idol. And I mean, it's got to be building to something. Like, I'm sorry, this might be I am an actor and I kind of know a little bit about the behind the scenes of editing. I'm not going to say I know a ton about it, but I know a little bit. And the fact that the editors are making such a big deal out of this, the fact that week one, Venus grabs the immunity idol and Soda immediately takes it from her. And then this week, Venus grabs it, Soda tries to take it away, and Venus kind of rips it away and then starts to hand it to someone, and they're like, no, everybody deserves to hold it. And this
hey, hold up,
something's
Bruce,
building.
We never had that issue. We didn't care who held it. We're like, oh, you won. But it's interesting to see, right? Production is going to give you the best narrative to keep a storyline going and keep you tuned in. Again, back to those 2 hours, we might not have got a chance to see those in the 2 hours. So I think Venus is, and we're going to see it in the episode as it develops. She just had to be patient. Has to be patient, and it's going to reward her in the end. So if you tune into the whole episode, if you haven't seen the episode, patience is what she needs right now. And you're right, Bruce. She's carrying on a storyline, and then she says stuff that it's almost like she's talking by herself. Yeah. It's almost like she's used to being by herself at times, and you carrying a conversation, not realizing somebody was there, because her and Soda had a conversation. And here's the thing about it is, let's don't forget, the game is outwit, outplay, outlast. Anything I can use to make you look bad is what I'm going to utilize. Because when it comes to voting, I need my edge. I need something to be able to say, no, no, no. Let's push the vote this way. Here's the reason why. And right now, everybody's kind of leaning on Jess as a possible vote in the event that they lose. But she's been performing. She's been putting in work. So it's going to be kind of difficult. And the longer you win, the less chance you get it voted out, because now you got more maneuverable room in there. It's like, okay, what can I do? How can I survive? So it's going to be interesting to see how our character plays out on the cast.
And Bruce, I have to ask you, you've been on 2 seasons. Was there any arguing about who holds the immunity idol? Because this has been something. It's like 2 kids of like, no, it's mine. No, it's mine. Like, any arguing about who holds it?
No, not at all. You know, it's like I got a chance to Jeff handed me the idol, and then I got a chance to give it back to Jeff, and you know, it's been handed to whoever's there. Like, and then you turn and you present it to your tribe. I have a problem with I grew up in a big family, man.
You
don't snatch stuff from me. I'm afraid to. Like, don't. Hey, I didn't need you putting your hands on the idol like that. Like, what are you doing? I would have passed it around. Like, everybody gets a chance to hold on to. Like, you go to the camp and you place it down somewhere nice, and everybody goes up to it, maybe whispers in the ear of the idol, like, "Hey, you're that pelican. What's up, dude? How you doing? Like, welcome home." And I saw that too, and I was like,
"Yo, great for TV." I mean,
great for TV. And I was like, "No, don't snatch."
In my personal life, we might have some problems.
Yeah, don't let that be a sandwich. I'm gonna get you.
If I'm ever on a tribe with these 2, I'm gonna make sure to everyone watching, I'm gonna make sure I snatch it from both of them. I'm just like,
hey, look, the camera. Hey, look, there's some blind spots in the camera. I'm telling you right now, there's some blind spots.
I gotta
reach out with your hand. You're gonna come back with a nub.
On national TV, they be like, "Is it Rock'em Sock'em Robot?" Man, yeah, he opened up that double can of whoop ass.
If I go missing, you know who it is. It is either Bruce or Abraham. If I go missing after taking the other,
I'll be like this. You take it real good. I don't know.
I have to, gentlemen. I got to get to some of these comments that we have here. Jay says, I actually felt bad for her with the soda taking the idol from her shenanigans. I know it's been an interesting dynamic between them. And then I have Ken's adding in. Yeah, I agree. I'm enjoying Venus so far. I find her standoffishness endearing. I could definitely see that. We always look for castaways that we can form a bond with, I see myself in them. And I could definitely see that Venus connecting with a lot of people. And I absolutely love this comment. So Kidder, welcome to the chat. Kidder says, sorry, I'm late. Abraham and Bruce just had to do my homework. And then like a minute later goes, oh, my bad. And Randy too.
Hey, look, I'm going to bring my buff next time. Do your homework. Hey, but you know what? I mean, at some point, she's going to have to stand up for herself. You got to take a stance. Yeah. Telvin is playing the outside right now where, let me tell you something. When you don't have to vote, everything kind of goes smoothly. You don't really have to worry about anything. You can talk strategy, but strategy is only when you got to vote somebody out. You don't have to worry about anything until you get to the merge. So if you can stay winning, your strategy won't come into play until you get to the merge.
I'm just begging that Nami, they don't even think about throwing a challenge. Like we've seen this where there are tribes who just keep winning and they're like, man, we got to go to tribal council so we play this game. I pray that doesn't happen because they have been on a roll, and we'll get to that when we talk about that amazing challenge. I got a few more things to talk about before we get to the challenge, though. And the last thing we really need to talk about, Venus, here in this episode has to do with Randon. And Abraham, you have Randon on your team, and I was rewatching some of our podcasts last week, and I came on and said, Abraham, I told you I don't think Randon's going to make it far in this game. I don't remember why I said that. And now here he is finding the Beware advantage, much like we saw with Tiffany last week. He said, yo, I came out here to play. I'm not even going to hesitate. It's the exact same thing, dig up the box, and then your tribe needs to lose so you get the next clue, essentially. And it's going to be tough with Nami to lose, but Randon then has what I believe is a brilliant move and something that I'm shocked doesn't happen more in Survivor. We see all the time when we have these people that are on the bottom of a tribe. I'm talking a Jess. I'm talking, you can say oh my gosh, we just talked about her, Venus. You could talk about a Venus. We see these, Liz, if you look on the Siga tribe, you could look at, no, sorry, she's on Nami too. You could look at Liz. Basically, I'm shocked that we don't get more castaways going after those players on the bottom and just bringing them in as numbers because they don't have anywhere else to go. And I think there was a little of that here with Randon saying, you know, we had this confessional where he goes, the problem is with my tribe, I don't trust anyone on this tribe. I really don't want to work with any of these people, but I need to tell someone to get a little help with this. And he goes to Venus and pulls her in. And I think that's a brilliant move because Venus has nowhere else to go. There is no one talking to Venus. We saw it all episode long that she's just kind of being shut out. No one cares to listen. So Randon goes, all right, I'll give her someone to listen to because she doesn't have much else of a choice. Bruce, what did you think about this whole Beware advantage with Randon and then the interaction he had with Venus?
The cool thing about the Beware advantage right now with Randon is that he doesn't, he's on a good tribe right now and they're going to win. You know, so him not having a vote, he's not really worried about it. And someone else I feel is going to lose their vote before they get a chance. Before they get a chance to go to tribal council. So now him going in and going after the low hanging fruit or the lowest person on the tribe per se. I just thought about Caleb, from my team 45, right? He went and he hung with, he grabbed Emily. He's not an optimistic person. So now in the game of Survivor, you're not supposed to trust anybody, but you need to work with people. And he understands that. So, the best players in the game, they trust more than one person and they find themselves out. I can only speak to myself when I played. It was like I entrusted Kelly and was hoping that it was being reciprocated back. And it's tough when there's 6 people. It's so tough to, you think someone's on the bottom, but they might not be because you don't know the conversations that are so tight that's happening. Like these. If you're one of 6 out there talking to someone and you're having these conversations, they end up being so tight in a way that if there were 2 tribes of 9, oh my God, it would be so much easier to be able to just talk to everybody and just formulate whatever you want to do. But once you're in these groups of 6, it's it is tight. You have to be able to trust in someone quickly, whether you recognize her on the bottom or if you recognize her on the top. So you gotta trust in them, and once you trust in them, it's like you hold on to it, and it could bite you in the ass at some point in time. And lo and behold, and that's what happens in the game. That's the beauty of this game.
And the good thing about it is Venus was already on the bottom. Mm-hmm. She was already desperate to find somebody that said, "Hey, work with me."
And he recognized it.
Yeah, sometimes you got to sit back and say, "Okay, who's on the struggle bus?" And Venus is on the struggle bus. Mm-hmm. Soda don't want to deal with her. Telvin don't want to deal with her. I think the only guy I think he's hitting on the camera right now is the school teacher. Does he get wait a minute, what is his name? Does he get camera time?
Oh, Hunter? You're talking Hunter. Yeah, my winner pick, Hunter.
No, we didn't.
He got that much screen time today. That much. Yeah. And then it's Hunter about next week. So
Hunter is not a threat on anything right now, but the excitement is coming from there. So you kind of got, I say the same thing. You got to find somebody you can trust. I thought I found some people I could trust. Didn't realize I couldn't. But you find some people you can, one person, because that one person can go to somebody else and get their trust. Now you have 3. And everybody wants to run out there and for all 3 tribes, let's play strategy. Okay, y'all, this is what we're going to do. Well, I feel like I need to vote this person out. To me, and Bruce can say what he want to say, Survivor is played in 2 phases. Before the merge, after the merge. You can't move so fast when you're trying to play after the merge, before the merge. Yeah. You're winning. What you going to do when you're winning? You're not going to vote anybody out. Now, if you get all the way to the merge with a strategy of voting out people in your own tribe, when you go to the merge, somebody going to be like, well, who should we get? And they're going to be like, oh, this person right over here. If you go back to 41 and when they did the merge feast, Danny told Tiffany, I got to keep an eye on you. You voted out all the men. So they knew what was coming to the tribe on the merge. So you got to be careful on how fast you play. And also, you get 2 opportunities not to get voted out. They're giving out 2 idols. And all you got to do is win one of them. That's it. And you're not voting. And then once your tribe get decimated, that's what happened to Caleb and them. They just lost too many people. Now they got to depend on a merge happening or a swap or something crazy going on to try to give you life again, because ultimately 3 can't beat 4 and 5. So,
well, I'm sorry, just to kind of bounce on that is that early Lulu was an absolute mess. Like they were we would go back to camp and be like, oof, we kind of felt bad for them. Like, can we send a crab over? Maybe they get better with it.
No.
I don't know.
No.
I love you all to death. Listen, I love you all to death. But it was like they were a mess, and we knew that. And I felt that when, as Bello, because we just kept winning. We lost Brando because of the tribe swap, but everybody else was still there. So in my mind, it was like, yeah, we're going to go over and merge, and our numbers are going to be solid because they're equal with Reba. And then all of a sudden, it's like, you just start eating each other from the inside out. I was like, damn, like we just.
Was it crab night? Must be crab night. Break it over.
Like what Bruce do? Like Bruce is a dad. Get Bruce out, and it's like, all right, well, I gotta hold on to stuff. I ain't leaving.
You know what's crazy, Bruce? Considering I had already met you before the show aired, both seasons, and I was like, no, man, Bruce is cool in the fan turn throwing high. Production, they made it seem like it was all out war out there. I was like, wait a minute, now I know I met them two.
My shoulders are all right. They're big enough to hold on to it.
We do have some more comments here. Jay adds in, I feel like winners tend to have a quiet episode too, talking about Hunter, plus his name isn't being brought up in any drama. Not yet. We saw maybe next week. Jay also agrees with you, Bruce. That's why production loves this 3-tribe format, because there's more potential for paranoia. Definitely when you don't have anywhere to hide. Rose adds in, right, you don't need a vote unless you lose the immunity challenge. So no worries not having a vote. Once you do lose, you just go get the clue and key and boom, you have your vote back. Exactly. Yeah. And then finally, Ken's added, y'all, I finally did Tiffany's idol clue decoding thing. What took Tiff 10 minutes took me a week. I would almost bet it took Tiffany a little longer than 10 minutes. Maybe not. I mean, it looks like she solved it fast.
I looked at that thing and I was just like, nope.
I don't even know. Look, I don't even know who thought it up. I'm looking at it like, who does this?
I would run back to like the middle of camp, and I'd be like, "Yo, guys, I found this weird paper. Let's solve it together." There's no way. Okay, before we talk about this immunity challenge, we're gonna take a quick ad break. But I got one more topic before the ad break, and that is, gentlemen, Metallica versus Taylor Swift. Stuff that we would never get if it wasn't a 2-hour episode. This is the time. I don't care about the game. I just want to know Metallica versus Taylor Swift. These guys, so it was between Ben and Charlie. They name over 100 songs. I don't even think I can name 100 songs. If you say, Randy, just name 100 songs by whoever. I don't even think I could name 100 songs then. I'm like, did CBS like jack up the count? Because I don't even know if Taylor Swift has 100 songs.
That's what I'm thinking. Does she have 100 songs? I mean,
that's a lot of music.
It's obvious that his playlist only has one artist on it, and he plays it in repeat. There is no artist that I know, and I know plenty of artists, got multiple albums that don't have 100 songs. So I'm kind of interested to see. And I think you're right. The 2 hours captured the moment. Like, I would not be here listening to this if I wasn't on Survivor and I had something else to do with my time. But since I don't, guess what? I'm going to sit here and listen to these guys go back and forth. I think if we go back and check, somebody's lying. I don't think Taylor Swift has 100 songs. I could be wrong.
Someone in the comments, look that up for us, and we'll try to get it up. Look up how many total songs Taylor Swift has.
You know how many people probably looked it up during the episode?
Right.
Bruce, are you team Taylor Swift? Are you a Swiftie, or are you going classic with Metallica?
All right, so I'm gonna be honest. There are some Taylor Swift songs I do listen to because like we said, it's catchy. It gets me going, like a little something. But Abraham, back in the day, listen, I'm an old man, all right? Back in the day, we used to grab onto like one tape. You put that for you young cats out there, a tape inside of it. It's got like music on like a thread. It's right before you like or right after the you put it in, you press play, and you listen to it until it pops. And when it popped, you went to Strawberry.
You went way back to reel to reel.
Right?
Yeah, that's the reel to reel.
That's what we used to do. We used to sit there and listen to the same artists back in the day. So if my man wants to sit there, Charlie, love you, man. I can't wait to see you. If he listens to just Taylor Swift, that's for me in my eyes, that's beautiful. But the real question is Taylor Swift or Metallica? I'm gonna go with Metallica all day over Taylor Swift because there were so many times like I listen to Enter Sandman, I'm just like I'm in the zone. Like I'll go for a run, I'll put that on, I'd rather listen to that. Because if I start jogging, listening to Taylor Swift, I'm just bouncing around. Like,
look, you about to get
never,
mugged.
ever getting back together.
I'm gonna have to go with Bon Jovi. I don't
That's
do
not even an option, Abraham. It's Metallica or Taylor Swift.
No. Here's the thing about it is, you do some strange things when you're on an island and you ain't got nothing to do. Because here's the thing: what you don't see, we're together 24/7, and we're not sleeping 8 hours. Nobody's sleeping for 8 hours. It's like, oh, it's time to go to bed at 10:30. I could ask you this, Bruce. We went to sleep basically when it got dark.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's dark outside. Let's go lay down. It could be like 7:30. We didn't know what time it was, and we would go to bed and try to get some rest.
This is the most Abraham thing ever. I gave 2 options. He said a third option, and now we're talking about sleeping at camp.
You got look.
Can I talk about sleeping at camp for a quick second?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
All right, listen. I remember, man, Kelly was talking to Caleb. They were having a conversation, and this used to happen. It happened a few times to me. I would think that I was still sleeping. I would get up and start sleepwalking. But then I went and sat down by the side of the two of them, and I'm talking to them, and Kelly's like, "Are you okay?" And I was talking like I was drunk. Like, the sleep deprivation is a real thing, and you call them up right now, they'll be like, "Yeah, we wanted to call medical." Like, what? And then I'm meandering back, and I came to him like, "Wow, that was weird." And then I laid back down in the sand, like, what? It was a strange scenario, but that's what sleep deprivation does to you. But then we start, at night we want to sing songs. We can't sing songs because it's copywriting and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't want to
yeah.
And now we're making up our own stuff.
See, I always love to sing, so that would be a tough thing for me. And I will add the one thing I'll add to Abraham. Abraham, you said Bon Jovi. That's like me saying, okay, guys, pizza or burgers. Now I'll just go tacos.
I'll even go Sting. Hey, but here's the funny part. The reason why you don't see it's a lot of good stuff that's on Survivor. The reason why you don't see it air on TV is because we broke some rule. Either copyright rule or something we shouldn't have said, or we said something in a way that we shouldn't have said it. So it's a bunch of stuff that never makes it because we have said the wrong thing. And they tell us you said the wrong thing over and over again, and we still say the wrong thing. So
$10,000. I thought we heard 10,000.
We say so much crazy stuff, man. I was like, oh, that's probably why they never did the Netflix corner. So I built a Netflix corner and pretended like we had a TV. And
Abraham was losing it on day 2. And Jay adds to the chat, Taylor has over 200 songs. I'm still going to take Metallica myself because this might be a hot take. I don't enjoy Taylor Swift whatsoever. Now, I'll leave you guys at that, but
this is Survivor podcast is canceled.
Yeah, I should have put that up.
It was fun while it lasted.
Up. We're going to take a quick ad break. When we come back, we will talk about Abraham's favorite thing about all these episodes, and that is the challenges. And we had a really tough challenge today in episode 2. We will be right back.
Hi, Survivor Now podcast listeners. I am Katie from KT Designs, better known as Katie Tedesco Art on both Instagram and Etsy. I have been designing and selling Survivor products for over 7 years at my Etsy shop, including replicas like hidden immunity idols and Survivor trading cards with all of the players' stats on the back. I am so grateful for Survivor Now for giving me this shout out and helping me reach even more superfans. I love listening to their podcast. So if you are looking for some really unique reality TV products for yourself or to give a superfan in your life, come check out my Etsy shop at www.etsy.com/shop/KatieTedescoArt.com.
Man, where does Katie live at?
She's up in Seattle, I believe.
I'm so sorry. I think I need to leave because I need to send her a message because I need to get a replica of my hidden immunity idol because they took that jump from me like within the first 2 minutes of me getting out of the show.
Bruce, I tried to steal something.
I was about to say, Bruce, you have all that Survivor memorabilia. You have the torches. You have
they be on us.
You have the buffs, all that.
I got 2 canteens. I got 2 bags. I got stuff molding in the corner over there because I haven't taken anything out since I came back from season 45. I got beads. I got stuff from the gift shop when we left. Listen, I'll go upstairs and take my son's shirt. I get the turtles that I bought.
Do you have a trading card? Hold on a second.
You didn't. Hey, look. We went to the spa. I think I got 8. I'm still using spa stuff from our season.
Really?
It was like $800 worth of spa stuff. We was just. They were just trying to say, y'all just do what you can.
Do you have the trading cards? That's something you can get with Katie Tedesco. I got Abraham's right here. Let me read the stats. Eric Abraham, Survivor 41, best placement, 18th place, 0 challenge wins, 5 votes against, 3 days survived, and then there's some trivia down here. He was the oldest member of the Yase tribe and the oldest man to compete on season 41. And then he, along with Sarah Wilson, became the first 2 players to be one of multiple players voted out on day 3.
And they never, which I'm glad they did. They never voted out 2 players again like that.
Yeah, you were a learning. Yeah, you were a learning curve.
You could vote out 1. Sarah should have. If you wanted to vote me out, but Sarah should have had a plate on and got a chance to play. And here's the thing people don't realize: we all know each other as cast, so we talk outside of the show. But what we don't know is what you said about us doing the episode that we didn't see. Yeah. So I've never gone back and looked at my episode. I don't know what they said. I don't know what they said in their confessions. I've just never looked at it. And it's just an interesting thing about being on the show and whatnot, because I know the people now, and you think they got a strategy and you vote me out and then the next person to vote out. Now you got a dominant women's tribe that's voting all the women out. I mean, all the dudes out. And the only reason Xander doesn't get voted out is because JD in the basketball challenge. If they had won that, Xander would have been off our tribe and the women would have dominated that season. So you just never know. If Bruce didn't get hurt, we don't know how far he would have went in that season. Now, when he comes back to the next season, it's fireworks because now we have somebody calling Bruce out at the beginning of the show and we have our first villain. And we're like, oh, she just went in on Bruce. And I'm thinking to myself, how did Bruce stay so composed? So I'm texting Bruce on the side. Bruce, how'd you do it? Because we're connected through the show. And I'm like, Bruce, man,
I have to cut Abraham off only because I know he will talk about these seasons all day. And we have to talk about this episode. But again, you guys can get your cards, your trading cards, your idols, your replicas, like Bruce said, with Katie Tedesco art. Go check it out. These are my favorite players all time. I think I need Bruce. Bruce needs to be there somewhere.
Hey, I'm going to tell you this, though. I'm going to get 2 cards.
Hey, he sure is. Let's talk about this immunity challenge, the arching puzzle. There was a lot that went down. First off, before we get into the actual challenge and the editing and how tough it was and all of this stuff that we want to say, someone take that knife away from Jeff.
Someone cut himself.
Messy Jeff.
You know he's on a blood thinner. He's a little older.
Like the oldest person out there. Look, stop playing. Messy Jeff. I mean, you cut it off. It just adds the little layer of just TV fun. But I'm like, Jeff, where'd you even get the knife from?
No, that's the he says I always carry my knife, and he pulls out the knife and cut. Remember, that's what he did with the rice last year when they were like
that knife. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to that knife. See, I wanted someone to say that's not a knife. This is a knife, because the one that he used to stab that rice was like this long. It had he could have flayed a shark with that damn thing, but he pulled that little. Like, okay, the one that he used for a bag of rice was enormous, and I'm like, all right, so what is he stabbing on season 47? Like, what's
Jeff looks at the footage and just brings stuff with him to do stuff.
I just want to know. I saw someone tweet out and said, "Why does he need a knife?" Because he says, "Lucky for you, I always carry my knife." Is he like, what does he need a knife for?
We don't even know where Jeff sleeps at. I don't even know where he goes at night. So who knows?
He's got his own house, man. You should know.
Oh my gosh!
Look, hey.
Well, this was a good challenge, Bruce. I'm going to go to you first here. I mean, we had it all in this challenge. We had Yanu struggling, all tribes struggling when they actually got to the kind of puzzle in itself. We went to commercial break, which I kind of liked, because when we came back, we got this incredible edit where you see the sweat dripping from their faces. You see them screaming at each other. And this went on for a while. And if you didn't know who was going to pull it out, we got screaming. We have everything you want in a challenge. Eventually, Nami goes 3-0. They win another challenge. Siga once again finishes second. They've done that in every challenge. And Yanu loses, goes 0-3. And I put frustrated, but they're not frustrated, as Tiffany said. They're pissed. And so, Bruce, what did you think about this challenge? What do you have to say watching all this play out?
You know, that was the moment that I sat there and I said something to my wife, because I was watching this challenge going on and we're going to commercial in the in-between. And I said to my wife, I'm like, I love this game. I loved it. Like, it makes so much sense to me. They're undoing the knots and they gotta hack something and then run over. No, there was no like immediate sense of urgency, because the way that I look at the challenges is that it's not one at the beginning, it's one at the end. Like, it didn't matter if you were, 2 sections behind, you're gonna catch back up because the blocks falling all over people. And I'm surprised it didn't land on anybody's foot, and like they're like on their head. Like I'm like this. I felt like I was 78 years old. Like, ooh, that's gonna hurt.
That's gonna stay.
But it was awesome to watch. It was really like it kind of brought me back to when we were pushing our cart, where we had to put it together and then take it apart or push it through and then go in between everything. Like, we had to communicate 110%. And like Venus had said, she felt like she wasn't being heard because they weren't communicating with her. Well, that all happens when Jeff says, give you a second to strategize. Literally, it's about a second to strategize. Like, you get all that stuff out of the way, and they didn't do that. So with her saying she got her foot ran over, like, that's just a part of bad communication. But to take a look at like every stage of that, like, it just, I love it, because the knots need to be a little bit harder. I know how those knots are, and if you pull too hard, you make an actual knot. They're not really a knot. But I'm looking at every piece of that. I'm like, wow, like this is a great challenge. I loved it. And then when they're trying to hold those things together, and how the hell are we doing this? And then you got Q. Q's grabbing. I don't want to screw up his name.
Banu.
Sorry, Banu. When he's pulling his hands to get him to where he's got to be, like
right here.
I was sitting there. I'm like, yo, just like Hunchback of Notre Dame, just sit there like this and hold it up. Like, you got to do it. So I truly loved it. It was a great challenge. It was a great challenge.
Maria before Abraham gives his opinions here. Maria was a beast as well. I love the moment when Tim said, Maria, you've been here longer than anyone else. And you see the sweat dripping down her, and she's just, you know what, put it together. It's like Maria in these challenges. I don't know if people have been noticing this, and I had to shout her out. She has been a beast in these challenges. Abraham, what do you think about this challenge, man?
Before I get to the challenge, I got to ask Bruce a question.
Yeah,
that challenge for the auction, when you were strolling through the woods picking up money at random.
There we go.
I was like, I'm sitting to myself like, is Bruce gonna move any faster, or he just gonna stroll through the woods?
No. Listen, I just want to answer that really quick. The reason why, because I knew it was, and anybody can say whatever they want. I know what my intentions were. I hurt myself the very first challenge, which was a reward challenge. When it was just a reward challenge, I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't need rewards. My game mind was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. It's a reward. It was guaranteed it was a reward, and it was the auction. I'm like, ooh, whatever. Like, I'd rather expend my energy on an immunity challenge as opposed to reward. So I'm like, whatever. I'm just gonna, like,
Hey, look.
Bryce Isaiah, I'm gonna put my shoes on next to pull in this rocket. And I'm
I was like, hey, is Bruce gonna get up and move? But you know what, Bruce? That's a good segue into TV. Does not give you the true feeling of the weight of stuff or what it's gonna feel like when you touch it. Now, there's a part that when we do strategy, we do get to ask certain amount of questions.
Mm-hmm.
My question to Jeff was, how much does that sandbag weigh?
Oh,
we couldn't touch the sandbags, but you could ask, and he would just look at you like, oh no. So I'm like, I feel like I can get this. And when I put my hand on them sandbags, the first thing that went through my mind is, if you wasn't on TV, you would drop this shit right now.
Walk away.
The sandbags were so heavy to the point that they took me off balance. And I was like, but I grabbed them. I was like, I'm on TV. I gotta make it. And you're like, when you touch that stuff and you see the edits is nothing to the time that it really takes you to get through those challenges. And I love it. I'm with Bruce. The harder it is, the better. If you want to come on Survivor, you win the challenge. If you want to get immunity, you win. And here's the funny part. Maria might have been sitting there struggling, but she probably was in the most comfortable position because she was like, I don't have to try to stretch up, because we saw people that was too short trying to put a block in a place that it really it needed to be put in right. So you needed a tall person. Communication. You needed a tall person. Q was the tallest, but
I mean, I'll put it out here. Maybe the legend himself, Jelinski, could have held up several pieces.
Jelinski shot himself in the foot 12 times in a row. He made sure he was the first person voted out Survivor. He did an outstanding job. He was dedicated to the mission.
He did a great job.
He was dedicated to the mission. But when you I mean, so sorry, Bruce. When you out there playing those challenges, you got to figure out where you fit at. Like Jess. Like Jess should have said, hey, look, I know I can hold up these two right here, and just stood there. Instead of trying to say, let me help put this up. I'm not trying to spell no words for you out there on the island. Tell me where I need to be at. Yeah. My thing was physicality. I'm going to be physical with everything. But when I touched those sandbags, that was the first time I realized what true exhaustion and adrenaline meet each other at. Yeah. There's a point where adrenaline gonna tip you over. Then there's a point where exhaustion takes it back. And when we touched that sled and we were trying to get the sled up that ramp, there was something 1, 2, 3. Man, that thing wasn't moving.
I'll tell you something else I really enjoyed about this. I'm all for trash talk, and we got some trash talking during this challenge where we have Soda looks over at Q because Q says something, and Soda looks back and goes, "Hey, how's that food tasting?" And there was some nice trash talk. Then we got Banu. We're going to talk about him a little bit later on once we get to Tribal here. He's going on about Gandhi and how he's starving himself and how they have a hunger, but it's a hunger to win. And unfortunately, Yanu once again goes back to Tribal Council. And remind me of the name of the tribe last year that Brandon and Hannah and them were on, because I saw a meme of people. Yes. I saw a meme of people saying, it wasn't Bello. Was it Bello?
Lulu.
Thank you. It was someone tweeted and said, Lulu is still in the game, but their new name is Yanu. I mean, this, and we can go ahead and get into it here, gentlemen. I'm just going to start with this. The mess at Yanu. And I know we've been going for an hour here, so we can kind of rope this all in together. You have a fake immunity idol being kind of created to make Jess not play her shot in the dark. But then you have the fact that Jess can't find the immunity idols. So you have fake idol hunting, where I'm sorry, if you want someone to be able to find an idol, maybe not shove it to the back. I don't know, maybe put it under a leaf. I thought that was a tough hiding spot. I was not
when you take somebody over there. He took him over there, so they.
And you have Q in a position of, what should be an easy Jess elimination really becomes Jess versus Kenzie, because people are starting to see Kenzie as a threat. She's playing all sides. We saw her talk to Banu. We saw her talk to Jess. And then we see her working with Tiffany and Q. And it seems like out of everyone in this tribe, the two people who are really connected are Tiffany and Q in a sense. It looks like that's an alliance that hopes to be going very far in this game. So Abraham, what did you make about this entire mess? Because Yanu is just shambles right now.
So when you get back from the actual challenge, you got Tiffany. Here's the thing about it is production doesn't always make you look like the best light. You're not in the best light. You're in whatever light entertainment presents itself to, and that's how it ends up not being on the edited floor. So you got Tiffany struggling with how she wanted to be perceived by other people's and her reaction. You got Banu saying he's an emotional person, but Jess is probably. Rephrase. Jess is an intelligent young lady. No questions about it. She wouldn't be where she's at in society if she wasn't intelligent. But we also playing the game of Survivor. And it makes her look like she's a buffoon. It makes it look like she has no common sense. And that's not who she really is. It's just in this environment here, it just portrayed that way. And I just think she's out there and she's experiencing it firsthand of this is what it feels like to be on Survivor. So for people to judge that and be like, no, she don't know what she's doing. She's lost. You go out there and take your shot at it and see how you feel after 4 days of eating coconut or, oh, wait a minute, they don't even have fire. So they're not even cooking anything. Nope. So your body is portraying you, and everybody acts differently when you start taking stuff away. Food, sleep. And she said on the very first thing, look, I'm HHD and I'm not getting sleep and I'm all over the place. So she is feeling the effects of it, and that's what we see. I think, real world, we meet her in the real world at an event or something, we'd be like, well, this ain't even the same person. But it is entertaining for TV, and that's what the producers look for. What can we get some entertainment out of it? So the whole thing was entertaining. I ain't gonna lie. You trying to convince somebody to find a fake idol, that didn't work. Then you give the person the fake idol and says, here you go. I don't think in all the history of Survivor have you ever seen where somebody just gives them the idol on the pathway.
That's what I was questioning. I didn't want to judge it too hard because obviously I'm not out there. I'm not playing, but I would be weary if someone who has not talked much strategy with me whatsoever just comes up and says, hey, I'm playing this idol. I'm giving you this idol. I'm going to play it for you. Because my first thought would be like, if you're doing this, why don't you just not give it to me and play it for me at Tribal Council? Like if it's your idol. So I thought maybe Jess would catch on, but yes, they don't have a lot of sleep. Bruce, I'm interested to hear the two plans that we had going into Tribal Council. Kenzie, on one hand, a very strong player who you think could be dangerous later on from Q's perspective. She's not going to keep me once we make it to the merge. Like, she's not going to have my back. Versus Jess, someone who, from what we see, what the edit is showing us, is costing them challenges. We see everyone so frustrated with her in these challenges. What side would you, if you're in that position, which side would you kind of be leaning towards? A player who could be more dangerous later on, or a player who's costing you wins right now?
It's one of those things that, so now you're down 2 and everybody else has to sit someone out. So I remember when we had to sit out 2 people, and Jake and I sat out because we knew where our strengths were in an immunity challenge, and we didn't care about reward challenges. So they got to be able to figure that aspect of it out. But the other side of the coin is that now they inherently are having a very tough time in these challenges. So strength doesn't matter at this point. So now what do you do? Like, yes, the conundrum that you run into is that you keep strength, and do you get rid of someone, or do you get rid of strength and then keep someone and just say, hell with it, we're going to lose, and there's a tribe swap coming at some point in time. They lose one more person, tribe swap's coming.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Survivor would definitely do a tribe swap.
So there you go. So that's essentially what happened. Lulu was a mess. Like, so tribe swap happened. So now what ends like it's they're not thinking the way that we're thinking right now. I had dinner, 3 hours ago, and I'm getting hungry now, so maybe I can get a little like flighty in my head, but I can go upstairs and get something to eat. They can't do that.
No.
So their minds are not right. So they're going to sit there and they're going to think that, okay, the best possible thing to do is to keep strength and hopefully we can win a challenge. But I'm willing to put money down that they probably don't win the next challenge, and they go back to, tribal council again because they're not together. So they're going to go back to tribal council. They're going to lose one more person. And then week 4, we're going to sit there and we're going to look at a tribe swap.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
But here's the
I'd
thing.
be willing. I'll raise your bet on that. I'll add some money to that pot.
There we go. So now the other thing, we talked about this briefly. So now we're taking a look at, all right, so how are we going to, as a tribe, when Tiffany was hiding the immunity idol, Tiffany, love me to death. If you're trying to set somebody up, it's like you just kick that son of a bitch in the middle of the path and say, "Oh, look what you done!"
Right, that's what I was thinking. They were shoving this thing in like a mountain and being like, "Go find it."
So keep it on the path.
She wouldn't have found that thing if it was on a flagpole. Tiffany essentially just stuffed it in her bra and jumped up and ran up the top of that mountain. I know exactly where she was. I know where she was, where she found it. Like that was where we were. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh my God, like why you lost half of her arm when she was putting it in there. Like nobody's gonna find that. And she even said it in the thing. She's like, look, I'm not gonna put my arm in there. I don't know what's in there. That's what Jess had said. I'm not gonna put my arm in there. So she's not gonna put her arm in a hole in a rock. Like she's not gonna do that. So this is the greatest Monday. People did this to me, so I'm gonna do other people. So now it's like it's a Monday morning quarterback type stuff, and it's like, okay, don't stuff it in the rock like that. You could have done it a certain way. But then when Q turned around and gave it to her, we don't know how much they've been talking. We have no idea. Like I could message Jess right now and say, how much of a conversation do you have with Q? And she's like, I talk to him all the time. We don't know that with the edit. The edit is leading us to believe they never spoke to each other. So that's probably why she felt comfortable in taking it and using it. But I would have felt like even though I didn't play my idol, whatever. There would have been a point in time that I would have been like, okay, so I have a question about this idol. Hell with it. Play the shot in the dark. Play it.
Yeah.
You hit it. You're going either way. Like you got to feel that somewhere. You're going either way. And like I had the wherewithal when I didn't play my idol. I knew that if I didn't win immunity the next time, they were going to vote me out. I knew that I was going the next week. Like that was my intuition. So I'm like, all right, maybe I can get 2 weeks out of this and not play my idol. But those are the kind of things that, like with Jess, she didn't feel that way. She felt that she had enough of a conversation. But I want to give one more thing. I'm sorry, I want to go too long on this.
No, you're all good.
Shout out to Helen, right? So if you think about it, Helen in season 44 was the second person voted out. Okay, Helen is extreme. I love this woman to death. I love her to death. Like she's been to my house. She came to one of my watch parties. I love her to death. She was the second Asian person that was voted out of Survivor in season 44. Or the first Asian person voted out of Survivor, the second person voted out. So the same thing happened here. And hopefully Jess can look at it like, okay, here's the reason why. Inflect about it. Like it's because you potentially were a threat. And then secondly, they didn't see you as like socially with them. So I'm not Helen. Helen was very social. But as far as for Jess, she didn't have that piece that can connect with everybody. So when you don't have the piece that connects with everybody, you're gone. So that's the only thing I kept thinking about was just Helen. I kept thinking about Helen the entire time.
And someone messaged about that too. I saw the tweet. They're like, we hate to make comparisons here, but this is back-to-back seasons here where this past couple, because Helen was 44, not 45.
44.
Abraham, you had something to add?
But you know who's in the best position right now? Q and Tiffany. Tiffany has an extra vote. So she has an extra vote. Q, so you
Tiffany doesn't. Tiffany has the idol.
The idol.
Oh, she has the idol.
Yeah.
Oh, Maria has extra votes. So Tiffany has the idol. Okay, Q, they're aligned.
And doesn't Tevin have one?
Tevin has an extra vote. So
yeah, for his.
The advantages in the game are Tevin's an extra vote. Maria has an extra vote. Tiffany has an idol. And then right now, Randon has a beware advantage.
Now, here's the crazy thing. If they lose another challenge, do you vote out the person that probably wouldn't work with you in a merge? Or do you vote out the person that can't hold water?
Oh, I'll tell you who you vote out, because this is a great segue. I mean, we've already talked about Jess being eliminated, and we'll kind of wrap up here in a little bit about, you know, Jess's game and say our final words to her goodbyes, basically. But we got to talk about Banu. Like, if you go back to Tribal Council,
Banu getting voted out. He gone. I'm voting him out.
And this is, you know, Banu is a very entertaining player, and this is something I understand. It's not like orgs. If you guys don't know orgs, online reality games, orgs are not the same as Survivor, obviously. But this was something that I struggled at when I played Expedition Online, which was one of the biggest orgs, is people would get on and commentate and break down the episode. And we're good friends now, but one of the guys who was commentating said, does Randy know that he doesn't have to talk all the time? Because I would always, and he was spot on with the fact, another guy said, I believe that Randy is one of those people, talking about me, that if there's silence, he feels like he has to fill it, which is 1,000% true. Like, if there's an awkward silence, I feel like I have to interrupt and add something, or, you know, everything's going to go, it's going to get more awkward. And I almost feel like Banu is the same, because that he almost talked himself out of like the game tonight. And it literally took Tiffany being like, bro, calm down.
Hey, what did Tiffany say? Tiffany said, the block is hot.
Yeah. No, stop making the block hot. Is what
I'm saying. You gonna go to me in Tribal Council? It's not like it's a lot of room. You're literally together. They be like, hey, Bruce, man, who you about to vote out? We got this situation going on right now. He ain't even trying to whisper. Who you gonna vote out?
I'd be like, man, your mama, go sit down, bro. What are you doing? What the hell's wrong with you?
Well, and the thing is, this is the second straight week. Jeff has to be getting tired of this. This is the second straight week where they tell Jeff when it's time to vote. They go, Jeff, it's time to vote, man. And Banu last week was the one who was doing it. And this week, Banu goes, no, it's not. No, it's not. And he gets up, starts running around. Bruce, this has to drive a castaway insane. Like, I know you and Abraham had that back and forth there where Abraham said it's basically him just looking at you out in public and saying, hey, who are we voting out? But, like, were you shocked tonight that Banu didn't get more heat? Because this man, he wouldn't be someone in the game that I want to work with.
Well, here's the thing. And I'm going to, reflect to 45. Or deflect to 45. And I love this person to death. And I know that he's not going to take any this personal at all. But that was our Jake.
I knew you were going to say Jake.
Right?
Yep,
So Jake. We sat there and there was so many times like, Jake, let's do this. And it's like Jake would do something different or whatever have you. Like, and I know Jake wanted to play his own game, which is great. But Banu, it's like, bro, sit your ass down. Like, you already know the plan. You know what's going on. And he's hopefully he changes and he kind of has his, because Survivor will do this to you. It's going to humble you and it's going to make you kind of like it did it to me. I inflected a little bit like, oh, am I that kind of person? Like, oh, snap it. He's going to find his moment when he's going to be like, oh, this is who I am, but I need not be. So he's going to be able to curtail himself, hopefully, at some point in time. I understand the passion. I understand the emotion. Like, I got you. And they're telling him, Q was like, no, just shy of saying, shut the up. Like, you can't have that. Like, when we make the merge, keep that in mind. What he said, too. Q was like, when we make the merge, you can't bring that. You got to keep that in, like, swallow whatever you're about to say. So now he could be the next one going if they show up. He could be the next one going, for the fact of the matter that it was either between him and Jess, but he could be the next one going just because they don't need that liability going into, a merge or going into a tribe swap. Like, come on, man. Like, you can't. If they go in those three, the three that are left right there, if they go into those three, I think that will, if they go into a merge of some sort and they make it out of it, a tribe swap, sorry, they make it out of it and they make it to the merge, they'll get back together and they're all good enough to grab other people in, to build their numbers. And
you're talking Q, Tiffany, and Kinsey.
Q, Tiffany, and Kenzie. They could be the Bello 3. They could be the Bello 3. They really can. They can ride that out. Like,
Banu getting voted out, man. You can't know. You don't know what direction he's going in. And the emotional part, I'm good with. I'm good with that energy you bring out there and you're trying to win a challenge. I'm good with that. But the other part that he brings with it, with just the unknown of, once you got up in tribal council once and did that with me, I'd have been like, next opportunity I get, I'm getting him out of here. I'm stringing him along until I can get him out, because that could backfire and blow up your whole game.
Yeah.
And it's especially you going to Tiffany and it's like, hey, who you voting for? In tribal, it almost like you a setup. It's like, okay, he must be the mole. We need to vote him out, because you've seen stuff. What made 45 so funny and good was they could change on the dime. You'd be like, what happened? And it just changes. You'd be like, okay.
A Canadian dime, a smaller dime than a US dime. Okay.
I mean, he brings entertainment to it. He brings passion to the game. He brings energy to the game. But he also brings such an unknown part of it that if it was a strategy, I could understand it.
Yeah.
What strategy are you playing?
I think there's no strategy. I sense with Banu, it's more of, man, and I could almost see me doing this as well. This is a guy who obviously loves this game, and he put so much into getting on this rendition of the show in the first place. You talk about a guy who he told his story about how he's lived most of his life in India, came over to the States, and the moment he became an American citizen, sent in that application video and said, hey, I can be on the show now. This is a dude, and I'm not saying the rest of the cast isn't like this. Obviously now they just like to cast super fans. That's the majority of the cast. But this is a guy who's just really struggling to contain his excitement. And I think anytime he gets a sense, especially because it's early on in the game, anytime he gets a sense that he could be going home, he freaks out, because I think he gets in his head and he thinks, I can't be going home. I cannot be the first one going home. I cannot be the second. I put all this time into getting here. I cannot. And I do think Banu, if he does go next episode or in the next couple episodes, I think it's going to be heartbreaking. I think it could be one of the tougher eliminations we've seen, because I think it will break this guy. Like, even we've seen castaways get eliminated. Even Jess tonight got eliminated and was like, oh, it's fun. It's fine. I'm going. It was an experience. I don't see Banu reacting like that. If he goes home, I think this dude's going to be devastated.
Ponderosa will take good care of him when he gets there.
If they get him to Ponderosa, they're going to have to drag him from that tribal council.
Man, he's gonna jump off that boat. He's going to be like, he's going to do his confessional, and they're going to be like, where's Banu? He took off in the woods. He's gone.
He went down that path. He just started running.
That path is dark as hell. You know he tripped on the road.
When you go out the path, it's funny. When they snuff your torch and you go, there is no light down there. You got to go down there, down a path. It's dark and it's people with black on. You like, oh, where you come from? And why are you so close to me? So he gonna run into a tree. But there, look, like Nasir. When Nasir gave his story about growing up in a different country, coming to the U.S. and he said he learned English by looking at Survivor and playing the game of Survivor. The first thing I said was, I might not be able to beat this dude. I think he would go until he dies. And I was like, it was only 3 people out the whole cast that I said I might have a problem with. It was Nasir, Brad, because Brad was like 6'3". But here's the funny part. When we was in quarantine, I noticed that Brad had a scar on his knee. I said, he don't want nothing. He already broke up. He don't want none of this. Yep. Danny was walking too slow. So I wasn't fearful of Danny, but I said me and Danny would have to go for it. The rest of it, I was tossing. Oh, y'all was gone. I was running over them jokers. They was all
I'm sorry to interrupt, but listen, I felt the exact same way. And the only person that I put any kind of, they're actually, because Austin was an alternate. We all know that.
Yeah.
The guy that, so we're all there. There's 20 of us there. There are 2 alternates. I didn't know who the alternates were. Excuse me. Austin was the guy I was looking at. I'm like, I got you, bro. Like, you and me, we're gonna go head to head and may the best man win. And there was the guy that he actually took the place for. He was a pretty big dude, and I'm like, I got you. Like, you're the guy that's gonna make me try the hardest, because I looked at it just like you, Abraham. Like, it's physical. Like, that's how I looked at this game. Like, I look at this game always like it's physical, and if you can win out, when it comes to immunities, but then provide and stuff like that, like that helps your game. So those are my 2 people, and come to find out, the guy that I was originally looking at that was supposed to be on the cast, he quits. Austin comes in. I'm like, yes, that's my dude. Because I'm looking at Drew. Drew's 1,500 feet tall. Like, I got you. Like, I'm gonna go between your legs and I'm gonna get what I need to get, because you're gonna be reach down and not gonna get you because you're too damn tall. Like, those are the kind of things that I looked at. But everybody's got their fuel and fire, and with taking a look at this tribe, it's like they can't collectively bring in their fire. It's like there's so many different sparks out there. Nothing is creating that actual fire that needs to happen in regards to the tribe itself. And to touch on the beginning, like when they sit there at the beginning of these there's no communication, whatever. I'll remember very vividly. There were people, we sat there at our first immunity challenge, and it was like, okay, here's what we got. A second to strategize. I can't do this. I barked up and I'm like, yo, like, let's not talk about what we can't do. Let's talk about what we can do. What can you do on this? I can do this. Perfect. You got that. I can do this. And so now everybody's got their job. So once that's solidified, everybody that's out there to listen right now, once you establish what you can do during these challenges, you'll just reap the benefits of it all. And that's, testament to Bell, because that's what we did. And New Lulu, that's what we did, and then we never lost.
Next time, give me a buff.
Well, it's going to be a little bit harder for Yanu to compete in these challenges and come together, because, I mean, they're one of the best, providers, and Banu has cut his thumb off. So, I mean,
I don't know. Hold up. I don't know how he cut himself on the rusty machete, because our machete was so dull. I don't know how he cut himself. We didn't even have a sharp. I don't know about y'all. We didn't have a sharp machete.
How many days are they in? They're in 6 days?
Yeah, 6 days in.
Yeah. There's still parts on that machete that's sharp. Not a lot, because like you got a coconut, and you sit there with a coconut, you're holding it like, you got the aim right, and wham, you miss, you hit a rock, pow.
Hey,
that looks like someone took a bite out of it.
Oh, man, we was dropping coconuts on the dirt, eating them, man. Medically, we should have been done. I think I ate so much dirt, man, and just nonsense.
Oh, you guys are making me want to play Survivor even more. I mean, I do want to play, but I'll say this: we do have to say goodbye to Jess. And Ken's had this message at the very beginning of the show. CBS isn't good with previews. I knew Jess was going. The conversation between Kenzie and Banu, where he asked her to find him an idol, hadn't taken place yet, so I knew they both make it past this tribal. You sometimes pick up on those things, and other times you don't. It's great observation to pick up on that. I had no idea. I thought they did a great job, kind of, and that's what Jay said. The edit had me kind of good, though. They set up a Kenzie boot. I thought Q maybe would have made that move, and then I'll also add Jay here. Banu is great casting, amazing TV. Overall, I mean, I feel like this was such a great episode. There was so much we could have spoke about, and we've been here for an hour and a half, and there's stuff that we didn't even cover some stuff. Like, I know someone earlier wanted us to chat about or mention Malcolm and Denise getting brought up, and they said in the chat that might not have happened if we didn't have these 2-hour episodes. The fact that Maria and Charlie are talking about maybe being a Malcolm and Denise.
I didn't see that at all. So we go.
but that's what I'm saying is, like, we started tonight's podcast talking about how people thought the first hour was boring because all we got was camp life. and we talked about the connections and stuff, but that's what we want. There was so much for us to talk about that we've been here for an hour and a half, and we didn't even cover every single thing. We covered the main points. But Bruce, I'll go back to you before we start wrapping this thing up here. I just feel like the first 2 episodes of this season have been bringing it. And this is something that Abraham has been saying since his season, and he's 1,000% right. They learned from season 41. I've told this straight to Abraham's face. I'm not a fan of season 41 of Survivor. I thought it was a big old mess of a season, but they got better in season 42. They got better in 43. Then you had 44, 45, and now with 46. Yeah. Abraham, I've already had Bruce threaten me earlier. I saw, yeah. I ain't scared. But they keep getting better, and I really do feel like Survivor is hitting their groove. So I'm interested to hear from someone who's gone out there and played this game now in the new era multiple times. I'm interested to hear what you think about where CBS is taking Survivor and the evolution of the game.
It's like anything else. You got season 1 to season 10. 1's amazing, and then it starts fizzling out. And then 11 comes, and 11's okay, and then it just gets better before you get to 20. And 20 kind of sucks, and then you end up, the 20 to 29.
Yeah.
But then you got 30. 30's like, oh, all right, so are we going to expect 20s? Nope, 30's a little different. Okay, we like it, and then it just got better. Until you get to 39, absolute shit show. Whatever. Yes. So now we get to 40. When is it more? Everybody's expectations are so high. They were actually physical in season 40. Remember that. Like they're like in the water, dunking each other, like old school Survivor. Great stuff. Then pandemic hits, social injustice, be nice to your neighbors, participation trophies, all that other stuff. Yes. So then they soften everything up. Well, now they're just like anything else. We're wearing masks for how long? We eventually ease all that up. Now we no longer wear masks. They're getting better in regards to moving forward with Survivor. Again, with the new era of Survivor. We have to have this camp life. We have to have the things that are going to give us that tie-in to someone else. If we don't have that, then it's just like we might as well just go and watch another reality television show that's, well, not Survivor, but a show that's scripted. Might as well just go watch that. You're going to get bored with it because it's going to be the same stupid stuff. This is not the same stupid stuff. These are different people every single time with different personalities, different heartstrings that they get tugged on every single week. Somebody somewhere, someone's going to sit there and say, oh, Christ, I got to hear this again. And then, but somebody else they're going to resonate with that. A good portion of people are going to resonate with that. That's the reason why 5.3 million people on average are watching this show. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why it's on television. So the evolution of Survivor is going to change. We're going to get to 50, and 50 is going to be something that's going to be similar, but just a little bit different. Oh my God, we didn't get the auction in 46. Uproar. Finally brought it back. Now it's not here.
I was one of those people. I was like, come on, bring back the auction. But I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But it's broken a little bit. It found a way to be broken. I reap the benefit of it being broken. Okay? I'm gonna ride with that. And the other side of me is that D spent $900 on a milkshake. Like,
hey, did y'all get to keep it in that money?
So anyway, there's so many different things, and we're gonna grow this game. It's beautiful, and me personally, shut up. Me personally, I would love to, like, let's just say they call me for season 42. I would love to go out there. I'd love to go out there just to see what new stuff they have going on. So sit back, relax, and watch a television show. It's supposed to be entertaining. If you're not entertained by it, by what you're seeing on the show at the beginning, I don't want you to go away. I want you to find something that is entertaining to you. Don't find a complaint. I want you to find something that entertains you. Like, okay, so, you just cut his finger. It's kind of entertaining because I did look myself. I'm like, where's that Band-Aid? There it was on his index finger because he nicked his finger. Like, find something. Find something to keep you entertained with this, because then this game will stay on as long as humanly possible.
I will say, before you add Abraham, because I know you're going to have something to add on. So sorry to interrupt. I will say, Bruce, that is the best like description of where Survivor is at that I've ever heard. That was really well said. I will add my only. I'm going to be a little negative.
Boost me up, drop me down. I got you.
Yeah, the only negative point that I have to add is with the auction, and I hate when people say it's broken because I don't know if you're watching Survivor Australia this season. They still do the auction, still have advantages in the auction, and that auction is not broken. I need Jeff to just give Survivor AU a watch. Just give it one time. He already said he doesn't care. No, he already said, Abraham. He said in an interview, he said, I do not watch other renditions of the show. Yeah, he said, I don't do it because we're doing our own stuff over here. I don't want to see what they're doing. We're doing our own stuff. I just need him to watch one episode and he'll see that the auction is not broken. Everything else, I agree with 1,000%. Abraham, what do you have to add on there? Bruce is like, I'm a guest and you talk me down. I'm leaving. All right.
I'm sticking around, baby.
Until tonight, I didn't know Bruce was actually on 40. Would have been on 41. And I wouldn't have not been on 41. You know, we had a lot of stuff going on when we casted 41. We were coming off the pandemic. Everybody I'm pretty much was on 41 thought we were going to be part of the old era Survivor. Nobody had any idea about this new era Survivor until we got to the island and we met the staff and they was like, oh yeah, I'm playing a new era Survivor. What new era? Shot in the dark. It's going to be 26 days. It's going to be 3 tribes. It's going to be 6 people, 2 tribes, 2 people getting voted out of the diverse tribal council. It was all new, but we had the most diverse cast in 41 and 42 of representation of the U.S. and Canada.
Yeah.
And at that time, there was a lot going on. So in the game of Survivor, you bring people together that may not ever cross paths. And you see them talk. You see them bond. You see them become part of their lives. You go places where me and Brad probably would never meet each other because he lives in Wyoming, to where we're sitting out at Ponderosa looking at movies and talking about life. And you see that happen. And I wish that people would look at that aspect of it and say, you know what? If in this experiment, under those conditions, they can get along and play the game and become lifelong friends. Some people ain't gonna never speak again, don't get me wrong. But for the most part, that experiment will always have us connected. That's why me and Bruce are connected. Because the gateway was like, hey, Bruce, man, you was on the season right here. But we also know what goes on behind the camera. Yeah. That people that watch the show will never see, that we can talk about with each other. Because we were like, hey, did you have this? Did you have that? But ultimately, looking at 41 and how 41 was and looking at 46, they are learning. They're growing this new era to a Survivor to be one of the top shows. When Survivor first came on, I lived in Japan. I didn't even live in the U.S. I'm looking at it in Japan, and I said to myself, man, I got to get on that show. That's my type of show. Mm-hmm. You had people out there in the social experiment back in 2000. We're in 2024, and we're still doing it. I meet somebody from the old era Survivor, I'm just as excited. I'm like, because they impacted me to go out there and play. Somebody gonna watch Bruce play, and it's gonna impact them, and they're gonna go play. But we also have a great responsibility in what we do in this bubble. When it's funny when people meet me or somebody's meeting, it was like, well, you're nothing like we thought. Well, because that wasn't me. I'm playing a game. Mm-hmm. So you only getting a portion. So when you meet me in person, Tiffany was funny. She said, if you'd act more like you do now than on the thing, we probably wouldn't have voted you out. But I was like, yeah, right. But it's a part of the game. But the experience, man, that brought like me and Bruce together, that brought me and you, Randy, together, and all the people I've met from my time being on the show, going to the Bryson Wynn Present events, meeting people, and you don't know when you're going to help somebody. You don't know by doing this right here who helps somebody. So I think they're moving in the right direction always. I think they're making it better. They might bring the auction back so Randy can be a little more happier. But I challenge Randy to put in an application, get on the show, and tell Jeff face to face, put the auction back. And
look, I'll say it. Everyone keeps calling me. They keep saying this is BS, and I would just pass out if I met Jeff, which could be true. But if I ever meet Jeff, the first thing I'm going to say is, why are we cutting costs? That's all I'm going to say. Bring the family visits back. Let's make Survivor And it's still, like I said, I love the episode of the night. I love this season so far. I loved last season. I love 44. And Survivor is a game that keeps on giving. Let's just bring back some of these nifty, like, family visits. Like last season, they had a helicopter. More of that to make Survivor the best show it can be. And while Survivor keeps on giving, the Survivor Now podcast keeps on giving as well. Before we say our goodbyes, I do have to say we have a very fun week planned ahead. So obviously that beautiful man right there was Bruce. We're going to say our goodbyes to him in just a second. He gets the week started off. You can check out Survivor Social with Tegwith and Kara tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, right here on YouTube or SurvivorNowPodcast.com. That same things apply to Survivor Stockwatch with Will and Jack. They go through, that's our power ranking show, 2 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, where they'll go through and let you know who they think's getting the winner's edit as of now. And then you can check out Got Something For You with Matthew, Ollie, and Phil on Saturday with a very special guest, Kevin from Survivor Super Fun Time on Instagram. This dude, he definitely brings the fun time. So we have an exciting week planned ahead, and we are still covering Survivor Australia Titans versus Rebels. You can check out our latest recap video with Sean Hampson. Sorry, almost couldn't say his last name. The Horse, you might know him as. He was on Heroes versus Villains. And just a terrific all-around player. And you can check out our exit interviews as well. Those go live Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday nights. So, I mean, the season is great. It's been delivering, and we're getting to the tail end of that. So we have so much Survivor content for you guys. And if you checked out our video today, you enjoyed it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Last time I checked, we are 57 subscribers away from 1,000 on YouTube. So
let's go.
Yeah, bring it in. Thank you, Bruce. Listen to Bruce. Let's go and bring. Yeah, we are so close, and we do have a very special 1,000 subscriber episode planned for you guys that we're planning right now and hoping we can do very soon. Bruce, man, it has been a pleasure. I hope we didn't keep you here for too long, man. It has been an honor having you on. We said it before we went live. This has been a while in the making. Obviously, we had to wait for the right time, but we were so excited to get you on. I remember talking to Abraham and being like, when Bruce is ready, let me know, because we got to get this guy on here.
Yeah, man, I truly appreciate it. This is just so much fun. If we had another hour to talk, I'd talk another hour. Like, I love doing this. This is honestly a good time, a very good time.
And I hope this isn't the last time. I hope we haven't scared you away too much and we can get more Bruce content sometime.
You're going to need a bigger Abraham for that. I ain't going nowhere.
I'm going to have all my stuff set up on the desk. My water bottle, my cat. I'll be drinking out my water bottle. Be like, I bet you can't do this.
Listen, my wife told me, wait, hold on. Was it before we go? Hold on.
No, you are all good. We're in no rush here.
When we sat in Ponderosa, did you get this? The Survivor water bottle? Oh man, they gave us paper cups.
Dude, they did us dirty, man. But we did get the I think the next season we got the mystery box where we got the hat, we got the buffs, and we got some other stuff sent to us.
Yep.
And y'all got that too? Yeah. Anyway. Now I do want my torch, because I thought it was like to me it's kind of dirty that every season after us gets their torch and you auction off our torches. We didn't get a chance to get
season 44 was the first one. So season 44, they gave us ours, and they gave us ours in season 45. But I'm gonna tell you this: I will give you 10% if you find out who bought your torch. I'll give you 10% towards it. How's that?
Well, no, because I knew
that's in writing. We're still live, so that's in writing right here.
I met the guy that bought the torches, and he buys a lot of the Survivor memorabilia, so he bought it. I don't even know what it went for. We didn't even know it was being sold until one of the cast members said, "Hey, your torch is on eBay or something." I was like, "Where?"
Yeah,
because I would have bought it. But
hey, if you know who it is, Bruce said 10%. The offer's out there. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us, and make sure to check out the rest of the great content we have for you guys planned out for the rest of the week, and we will catch you guys same time immediately following the episode next week to break down episode 3 of Survivor.